Today we're talking about one of the most frustrating running injuries. This is Achilles tendonitis, or more accurately, Achilles tendinopathy. It is one of the most common overuse injuries in running, but the good news for you is that we can fix it with the right approach. Guys, welcome back to Finish Line Focus, where I help you to train smarter, race faster, and enjoy every mile or kilometre. Quick note before we start, I'm not a physiotherapist, I don't claim to be. This video is based on widely accepted guidance and my experience coaching runners. But if you're unsure about any symptoms, always speak to a qualified medical professional such as a physiotherapist or your GP. So what actually is Achilles tendinopathy? Well, in simple terms, it's when the Achilles tendon, which is that strong band connecting your calf muscles to your heel, becomes irritated or overloaded. So instead of functioning smoothly, it becomes painful, stiff or swollen, especially when you move. So here's where it lives. It runs down the back of your lower leg and attaches right here at the heel bone. There are two main types that runners deal with. We've got mid-portion tendinopathy, which is pain higher up the tendon, and insertional tendinopathy, which is pain right where it attaches to the heel. This injury is incredibly common. In fact, I'm making this video because I've been dealing with it myself. Studies suggest that around 6 to 18% of running injuries involve the Achilles tendon. So if you've had this before, please be assured that you are definitely not alone. Okay, so how do you know that you've got it? Well, typical symptoms include a dull ache or stiffness around the heel or the lower calf, pain that's worse first thing in the morning, which is something that I've definitely found, tenderness if you squeeze the tendon, stiffness at the start of a run that might ease up as you warm up, mild swelling or thickening of the tendon, and in more advanced cases, pain during and after activity. So this is all classic Achilles tendinopathy territory. So what actually causes it to happen in the first place? Most of the time it's simply overloading the tendon. So that could be increasing your mileage or intensity too quickly. I totally get how this happens. You know, you might have a deadline, you might have an event coming up, you want to increase your mileage, you want to get faster, and we can get carried away, and we can do that too quickly, and I've definitely done that myself multiple times. It can be when you suddenly add in lots of hill or speed sessions very, very quickly into your running program. It can be tight or weak calf muscles here, or poor recovery in between runs. So we always talk about recovery as the most important aspect of your training, and that is where your body makes adaptations to what you've been doing. So although we often want to just get out there, it's really important that we are making sure that we do allow our bodies to recover from the load that we've been placing on them. Other causes can be a sudden change in footwear, especially if it's not the right footwear for you, which is why we always recommend going to an independent running shop and having your gait analysed and making sure that you've got the right shoes. But also reduced ankle mobility can also be an issue with it. So what actually happens inside the tendon isn't exactly inflammation like we once thought. It's more of a degenerative overload problem. So the tendon fibres don't have the time to adapt, and they become irritated, disorganized and sore. And yes, in very severe or rare cases, the tendon can partially or completely rupture. Not nice, guys. Definitely not something that we want to risk. Okay, so what actually works in terms of treatment? This is what you're probably here to find out. So here's the key message. It's contrary to what you might think, Achilles tendinopathy doesn't get better with rest alone. We're always talking about rest, aren't we? About the RICE acronym, but this is something that you really need to know. Rest alone is not going to help you to recover your Achilles. So in fact, long periods of rest can make the tendon more sensitive when you then return to running. So the treatment that works best is progressive strengthening. I cannot stress this enough. Gradually loading the tendon so that it adapts. So my plan revolves around A, cycling to maintain fitness, and B, injury-friendly strength work to come back stronger. So here's what to do. You firstly want to reduce your running load. So you do need to cut back what you're doing, which might be for 1 to 2 weeks. Very frustrating, I know, but let's think long term here. So you don't want to run through sharp or worsening pain. Keep your movement, but reduce the stuff that aggravates it. So we want to focus on strengthening the calves and the Achilles here. So the gold standard exercises here are slow heel raises first of all. So you're going to lift up with both feet. You're going to low down slowly, especially on the affected leg. So this is what we call the eccentric part of the exercise. Usually what we think of as the easy bit, you know, the tough bit being where you lift up and then you go back to start. Well, actually that bit is the eccentric exercise that can really be impactful here. So when you're lowering, you're going to just do that in a really controlled manner, and this is actually what stimulates tendon repair. Okay, so we want to progress gradually. So as pain improves, you can add weighted heel raises. So if you have access to perhaps a weighted barbell, or you could use some dumbbells for this alternatively, so that you're increasing the load on there. So we're looking at slow, heavy resistance training. Which of these would be the best option for you? Comment below, guys. So why strength training? What is it actually doing? What are we aiming for here? Well, it stimulates tendon adaptation. So in the case of an Achilles injury like this, it actually strengthens the Achilles gradually, but without placing sudden stress on it. It also improves muscle imbalances and stability issues that you might have, so you're reducing the risk of future injury as well. So cycling is my other tool that I'm using at the moment. So cycling keeps your heart rate up, it maintains your endurance without stressing the Achilles. It's also useful for many other injuries because with this you're avoiding placing any impact. So even 20 to 30 minutes in place of a run gives you confidence that you're still doing your training. Another option is swimming. Again, minimal impact, but great cardio when you can't run. Have you got a swimming pool nearby? I haven't, but my local roads are perfect for the bike. So let me know below, guys. Is swimming best for you, or is getting out on the bike going to be better in your case? So I talked about what the strength training is doing for you, but the cycling, what is it actually doing? How is that going to benefit an injury like your Achilles? So you're maintaining cardio fitness first of all, but without loading your Achilles tendon. You're keeping your leg muscles active and blood flowing to aid recovery, and it can be a way to train for endurance whilst you're allowing the injury to heal. Cycling's been great for maintaining some fitness, keeping the aerobic engine ticking over, and actually it's been nice just to mix things up a bit. Then when the time is right, you're going to return to running very carefully, very cautiously. So you will reintroduce your mileage slowly and avoid sudden increases in volume and intensity. Checking the next day just to see how you feel in the morning, which is a key indicator. So when I've been coming out of my Achilles injury, I just literally went for some brisk walks first of all, and I would introduce very short sections of very light, very gentle jogging of perhaps 0.1 or 0.2 of a mile, and then with a walking section in between, seeing how it is the next day, having that day off, that second day, and then on the third day, if all is seeming well, then gradually increasing that. And really importantly, make sure you're including rest days. The rest days are when your body is actually making adaptations to all the hard work that you've done, so they're absolutely essential. Don't try and do too much, embrace those rest days, realize how important they are for you and the difference that they actually make as a key element of your training. And also just listen to your body. So early pain signals are warnings, not challenges. Sometimes your body is just going to tell you when it's time to stop. Also make sure that you're factoring in recovery weeks. So every sort of third or fourth week in your training should be low mileage, again to support adaptation to the load that you've been placing on your body. So how do you know when it's the right time to come back from injury? It is a bit scary because, sometimes you've had an injury for a long time, you go out, you're going to make it worse potentially again, aren't you, if you're coming back too soon? So think about, are you experiencing pain-free day-to-day movement? Can you walk, squat, climb stairs, all of those activities without any discomfort? Thinking about sharp or lingering pain as well. So it's quite normal to have some mild stiffness, but a sharp pain, that's definitely a red flag that tells you you're not ready to come back yet. Is your strength and your mobility, are they restored? So are your affected muscles and tendons, whatever your injury is, are they just feeling strong and stable? So when should you seek help? So if you're unsure of what's going on, if the pain is getting worse, or if it's just stopping you from taking part in your activity, stopping you from running at all, just speak to a physiotherapist, speak to your GP. If you feel sharp pain or suspect something is more serious, then it's definitely worth having that conversation. Setbacks are part of the journey, even for ordinary runners like us. So keep moving, stay patient, and focus on what you can do, even if right now that's on 2 wheels rather than 2 feet. Key to all of this is mindset. Now, potentially missing race day is a right pain, but this is an opportunity to build strength, control what you can, and come back stronger. Okay, so Achilles tendinopathy, it's really frustrating, but with the right strengthening plan, most runners fully recover and come back strong. So hopefully this video has been useful for you guys. If so, please hit like, hit subscribe, give a comment below. Are you dealing with Achilles trouble right now? Share your story with us, guys. Share your frustrations. Thanks for watching, guys. Now, in all likelihood, you're here because you're dealing with this situation yourself. So please let us know how you're getting on below in the comments. Hopefully you're back to it soon. Hopefully this advice is useful. And thanks again, and happy running when you get back to it.